Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about Balenciaga part 2. The reason why I say part 2 is that I made a video very recently talking about the Balenciaga scandal up until that point. Now we have some new information. I'll link the prior video down below. I strongly suggest you watch it for context if you have no idea what's going on, and I just suggest you watch it in case I might have mentioned something you didn't know yet. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is basically the scandal that lies below the scandal. So my first video was very much talking about the surface level scandal and people reacting to the advertisement with children in it, which was deeply troubling. But that was more of the surface level scandal. You know, once the ball gets rolling and something seems off about a brand, a person, blah, 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 people just start looking and digging and then they find something else. This is what that is. This is the scandal beneath the scandal. I'm going to try to make this as clear as possible, but please try and pay as much attention as possible because there are like degrees of separation between certain things. So it's important to keep track because truly I had to reread some of these things. Let's start at the top. A lot of brands are owned by a parent company, corporation. So there's this one, which is a luxury brands company that's called Kering. I don't know if I butchered the pronunciation, but it's spelled like this. Kering owns Balenciaga, Bottega Veneta, Gucci, Alexander McQueen, and Yves Saint Laurent. So it owns a lot of big names. Now, because Balenciaga has been in this seemingly endless scandal, I don't know if it's just my concept of time, but it seems like it's been going on forever now, you'd think that Kering would say something because they are the head company, let us say. So you'd think that they would say something considering they own the brand that's in the scandal. However, there have been crickets as of when I'm filming this. So in fact, there was an article that came out that said, "Where's Kering as apologies from Balenciaga and Demna fall flat?" Reflecting on what Kering, Balenciaga, and other luxury brands need to learn from this experience, Dr. Martina Albert, founder of Meaning Global and a leading authority on brand meaning, sees two important takeaways. The first thing is how fragile your reputation and perception are as a brand, especially for a luxury brand, and how volatile they can be due to cultural missteps. No brand, however celebrated with heritage and legacy, is immune to the drastic shifts in consumer sentiment when it makes a misstep of gargantuan proportions like this. The second thing is how interconnected the perception is between Balenciaga as a portfolio brand and Kering as its holding company. You cannot be a pioneer of sustainability and lofty social and environmental ideas for future generations and then do the complete opposite and disrupt these social values by targeting children who represent the future generations we want to protect, she said. Noting that responsibility and sustainability are keywords in luxury today, she concluded, Kering CEO Francois-henri said, "Luxury and sustainability are one and the same. The individual brand strategies need to reflect that. Sustainability is about respect. Luxury brands and their parent companies need to be managed holistically as connected ecosystems of cultural value, or their whole sustainability strategy simply does not make sense." Now, the reason that I read this specifically is because I did kind of want to highlight the fragility of these high-end brands because, of course, they have their level of power because they also have their level of money. That being said, in instances like this, we really see where the weaknesses lie. Now, putting aside this specific exact scandal, the way in which brands handle scandals is extremely telling, and I do think that's what separates a lot of brands as well, seeing a mature response, responsible response, as opposed to silence, dodging questions, or kind of blaming the potential consumer for misunderstanding advertisements, misreading them, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just going to leave that there. We can all draw our own conclusions. But again, we return to the idea, how is it that the holding company, Kering, is not saying anything or hasn't said anything up until this point? That is truly what is strange and kind of surprising, because if we're going to talk about this, putting all morals and ethics aside, even just money-wise, you don't want to start bleeding money, right? So you want to make a good PR move, and a good PR move would have been to respond, right? Now, obviously, ideally, I would want them to respond because of moral and ethical reasons. So there are two people we need to keep in mind here right now. There's Francois Pinault, and then there's Francois-henri Pinault. So Francois Pinault is the father. So there's this holding company called Groupe Artemis, okay? Groupe Artemis is owned by the father, Francois Pinault. There's this British auction house called Christie's. Christie's is owned by Groupe Artemis. So recapitulating, Francois Pinault, the father, owns Groupe Artemis. Groupe Artemis owns Christie's, okay? And when I say Francois Pinault, the father, that also means that it's the son as well owns it, or it's been passed on to the son. Either way, generationally, they're both connected. So Christie's, I was checking out their website, and there's art on that website that has made people deeply uncomfortable, and frankly, for good reason, because I felt really uncomfortable just taking these screenshots. I was worried that someone would pass by me, see my screen, and report me to the fucking police. So the artists in question that people have an issue with are Jake and Dinos, whatever, Chapman. Part of their art includes these statues of children. Some of them have genitalia instead of noses. I don't know what to tell you, and I understand art is up for interpretation, and I think art to some extent is supposed to trouble you because it's supposed to make you think, all of that stuff. There is a very, in my mind, definite line between being troubled by art because it makes you think about things that might make you uncomfortable, might make you question your feelings, whatever, and then this. This to me is just, first of all, I don't think it's art, but that's just my own opinion. But even if it were art, this is so just vulgar, disgusting. No, okay? There's no deeper meaning for me to this other than like pedophilia. So just gonna put that there. I don't really know what else there is to say here. I did try to think about what other interpretation there was. I was trying to see very much outside of my own perspective. I'm sorry, I can't really come up with anything. If you can come up with something, truly let me know, because no one I asked could come up with anything either, and I asked people who had no idea about this scandal. So people started protesting Balenciaga because of all of this child content. Now, obviously, this art that is part of Christie's, the Chapman art, obviously that's not directly connected to Balenciaga, but I mean, it makes sense that people would be like, okay, what are the odds that Balenciaga is doing this advertisement that's super inappropriate, that has children with it, with BDSM themes, and then we find out that there's a connection between the owner of Balenciaga and Groupe Artemis, and then Christie's, and then Christie's has this art that has these child sculptures. People just start wondering, how many times does that happen? And how many times do we say that's a coincidence? You know what I mean? So people are starting to say, okay, well, there has to be something deeper here, because how does that just happen? You know, like the odds are very low there for even just one of those things casually happening, like an advertisement casually materializing with children and BDSM. I'm not going to start on that rant again. You can just watch the prior video for that. But now there's this. People are like, okay, are we missing something here? So anyway, people are protesting, calling Balenciaga and the people connected pedophiles. And here's a video of that.
These ain't the only ones. That's true. They're not the only ones, and you know how they're not the only ones? Because the likes of those Gucci, the likes of those whoever else it is, Burberry, where's their condemnation of what's happened? It's because they're all involved, every single one of them. And once we realise, that paedophiles actually run the world, it'd be a little bit easier for everyone to take advantage of it, you know? Because we ain't going to be governed by paedophiles. We ain't going to be governed by people who protect paedophiles. And we've had enough. We as the people now have had enough of this country. We've had enough of our government. We've had enough of the likes of these protecting our government, telling us to follow the science like he was just saying then, when they can't even define what a woman is. The whole point of it is to put us all into a state of confusion. And by confusion, we don't know if we're coming or going. And this is why we are out here today, to stop this confusion, to start to make a change for the real. Yeah? We've had enough of this, 3 years, and we're still out here, the same faces, I see you all. You're the real ones. You're the ones who actually care about what's going on. We're out here for a reason. They're out here for a pay packet.
People were also upset, and this is like the final note, that Balenciaga actually closed down his brand. Like, the brand was ended and then it was started again, and people were showing these pictures of what Balenciaga was before what it turned into now. Balenciaga actually used to be a brand that I enjoyed. Now I'm very creeped out by it, and I don't know if that's something a lot of people are ever gonna kind of get over, this whole scandal, because it feels like more than a scandal. It feels like there's more meaning than just like a flat like what the fuck. But anyway, they were posting these pictures showing the kind of artistry that was behind Balenciaga once compared to the street fashion that it really is now. Anyway, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think that these connections are reaches? Do you think they're far off? Do you think it's actually accurate? Do you think there's something to be looked into? Do you think these people should be investigated? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.